of these night slots. All right. So this time around, we're going to enjoy ourselves during the daytime, talk about some deep state information, moves, and whatnot. So you guys are probably wondering, why the move on social media? All right. So on social media, I have two pages. I have the Daily Rabbit Hole and I have something called the Backwoods. The Backwoods, while it worked, uh, it just didn't have its own brand. So I took the Deep State Talk Show and implemented it into the Backwoods, rebranded. Nonetheless, it's on there now, so that'll be my platform to basically, you know, put out content and go from there. Now, before you get on in here, let me know you can hear me. How's everybody? I'm on here in the mornings now. All right, we got some things to talk about. Okay. Now, before we do that, I gotta do my sound check because stuff happens. Turn my mic down.
Everybody up? Wow. You guys look great. Lots of kids here. Come on. Okay. See, I know from my grandkids and my kids that you serve too. So thank you for your service, all of you. So it's great to be here today with a fellow community college professor and a Delawarean, Lieutenant Gardner.
Hey, I'm just making
See,
sure I
I
can hear
know from
myself.
my grandkids and my
Sorry.
kids that you serve too.
I
So
know I
thank
have to
you
take
for
that time. No one's helping me. Just bear with me right now.
So it's great to be here today with a fellow
I'm just making
community
sure I
college
can hear
professor
myself.
and a Delawarean.
But if you can hear me, put it in the comments because I can't, I can hear myself, but I got to make sure it's all good out there. We're going to get into the show. This is just filler right now. Bear with me. Oh, I can hear myself. Good to go. All right, listen up, guys. Let me move away from this because that's not my focal point today. All right, that was just filler. All right, so if you're paying attention, what's going on right now? You've heard about Hunter Biden getting his pardon. All right, now you're going to understand with the Deep State Talk Show, we talk about many things: politics, war, conflict, basically the things that I can't really cover with the Daily Rabbit Hole because it doesn't really mesh quite well and they keep, censoring me. So, the deep state right now has made its move. I like to always throw that in there. Hunter Biden has gotten his pardon. Are we shocked? Are we shocked? Because Biden, early in his career or his tenure, stated that he wasn't going to give a pardon to Biden when they asked him. He said there was no way he was going to consider a pardon. Well, fast forward, and he's going to pardon him at the end of his presidency. Are we shocked? Not really. Not exactly, guys. All right. I would have been more shocked if he actually let him go through with the gun charges and the tax evasion. But that's just my humble opinion, all right? My humble opinion only. Now, I do have some information. I got some articles. We're going to cover that. Of course, Trump, Elon Musk, they're all talking the big noise right now about the pardon. Wow, it's kind of ironic Trump has something to say about a pardon. I'm not saying he's a bad guy or a good guy. I'm saying I don't trust him either. I'm saying he's also had one case suspended indefinitely and he had his Jan 6 case dismissed. All right. So are we on both sides of the aisle? We both have charges or cases being thrown out. We have a pardon on the other side. We just have complete complete overhaul or complete just disregard for the justice system right now. I'm not on anyone's side, guys. You're gonna learn something about me on here. I'm neither a Trump supporter or a left supporter. I don't really care for either because I think it's the same bird, and that's just me. That's just me. All right. Now, let me click over real quick. All right. Boom. Elon Musk says no one is above the law. Dig at Biden amid Hunter pardon row. The head of Department of Government Efficiency has something to say, and I'm not saying that he's wrong. I would have been shocked, like I said, if he'd have went through with it and let him be charged. There's no way we would assume Biden was going to let his own son go to prison. I just didn't believe that. You shouldn't have believed it. There was no reason to believe that. Absolutely none. All right. If this is the real thing, the Biden crime family out of Delaware and inside of the deep state, we're talking about crimes against humanity. We're talking about election fraud, genocide, and a whole cluster of other issues that have gone on under the Biden administration, then this would have just been another day in the park of the White House. This is like very similar of the time that they found that cocaine and then they didn't know who it belonged to. Out of everyone in the house, I'm not saying it belonged to Hunter. I'm just saying he's been known for booger sugar. So it's just one of those situations where things are happening and no one's really buying it, right? Cocaine shows up, it's not Hunter's. He gets a full pardon, even though Biden said he wasn't going to consider a full pardon for him. He did it anyway. All right. This is much like thinking about the fact that when we said presidential immunity is a bad thing, right? Presidents have this kind of immunity where they can do things, they can pardon, and they can get off of felonies if they need to. But think about this. Biden used his presidential power to pardon his son, and then Trump getting elected, I mean, he gets his immunity, and they said in one of his cases that a sitting president has that immunity. He can't be charged with a felony or anything that was done in the time of he was in the office, is what I'm trying to say, right? So at the same time, this is happening on both sides. Do I think Hunter Biden is part of the crime family and he's done all these horrible things? It wouldn't be the first time we've heard something like this. I mean, the Clintons did it. Bushes, I mean, what would have changed from Biden till now? We know that most of the families that do get into these positions of power are pretty much no good, and they're breaking all the rules as is. Now, let's read over this article. Let's hear what Elon had to say. All right, Elon Musk and several other Republicans mocked President Joe Biden for his U-turn move, granting son Hunter a pardon. The Democrat on Sunday granted the first son a clean shit and I say shit, clean shit and tax and gun related convictions. Soon after Biden issued a statement, social media users rushed to his post, which read, "No one is above the law." But that's not the case, guys. In America, everyone's above the law, apparently, as long as you sit in the right seat and you got the right last name. How many times have we seen this from the deep state? Let's be real. Like when we talk about the deep state, a lot of people want to lean one way to or another and say, well, Trump is going to slow it down or the Bidens were making it worse. Listen, it's left wing, right wing, same bird. It's really hard for me to believe how you could trust Trump, but he's still part of the deep state somehow. I mean, he checks off on all resumes, right? Just like the Bidens do. I'm very unbiased in this, all right? Everybody's checking off. So saying that no one's above the law, essentially, while Trump has walked out of both of his cases, not saying he did it, just like I'm not saying Hunter did it. I'm saying the cases are there and no one's going to jail, regardless of what side of the aisle it is. So take that with a grain of salt. Take it how you want to. I'm sure that's going to be the unpopular thing to say about the right, that, hey, Trump is working with the deep state. Well, if you look at the clues and pay attention, you would assume the same thing. That's just me. Now, back to Hunter Biden. Biden's tweet from May was an attack on President-elect Trump. It went viral after the president decided to issue an unconditional pardon to Hunter. Earlier this year, the 81-year-old had repeatedly stated that clemency is not an option in his first son's case. But it is. Would you let your child go to prison? If you're the president and you got the power to keep your child out of prison, are you gonna let your child go to prison? Especially if you know what he's done. Now, what are we talking about Hunter's done? Sure, we know about the tax evasion. Sure, we know there's a gun charge in there. Now, Hunter Biden does have an extensive history. Now, this is just Wikipedia. Take it how you want, but it is a nice little reference tool. All right. A lot of people get weird. You could change information on it. Yeah, that's true. You can change information in school books. No one bitches about that one. So, investigations and federal indictments. All right. So this man has an extensive history with international laws, international crime, as they call it. He's been linked to a lot of people from China. He's also linked to people in Ukraine. All right. Now, in 2022, New York Times reported Biden and possibly others have been under investigation by federal prosecutors in Delaware, with a grand jury convened to subpoena and hear evidence. The investigation examined payments and gifts to Biden or his associates had received from foreign interests, whether Biden had violated the law by not registering as a lobbyist under the Foreign Agents Restriction Act. The Times reported it had acquired emails that were authenticated by people familiar with them, an investigation that appeared to come from a laptop belonging to Biden. This is where all of this whole where's the laptop whole spew, I'll say information has been coming from. Everyone's been wondering where is the laptop, kind of like Anthony Weiner when there's like where is the laptop. Also, duly noted, wall break, Anthony Weiner's laptop was just as bad as Hunter's laptop. All right. So this is why you hear these conversations and think about this, right? Years ago with Clinton, they were talking about her emails. A lot of times the information that's getting leaked is coming from the email. So always remember with the deep state, there's a breadcrumb somewhere. They're leaving trails, they're leaving evidence everywhere, regardless of who it is. All right. Now, we've heard of this with the Bidens. This was one of the talking points for Trump and Kamala when she ran against them. When Kamala ran against Biden before she became the vice president, or she debated against him in the Democratic convention or party, whatever, she had called this man a racist. She spoke of him having ties to China, and she talked about the whole Ukraine thing and all of this, the whole Biden crime family, which was ironic because she ended up being his vice president and not getting anything accomplished. All right. So always know that those little talking points that they throw out, they do it to get our attention and for us to like them, but they're gonna join anyway. Biden, this has been known for a long time within the foreign relations community, excuse me, and like the history of what he's done overseas. This is where, like I said, those conversations keep coming up about Ukraine, biolabs, and taking, I guess, money from other foreign entities. All right, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna speed along. We're just kind of catching up on what led us to this pardon. All right. Now, let's see. All right, here's another one. On June 20th of 2023, in a deal with prosecutors, Biden agreed to plead guilty to two misdemeanor tax charges of failure to pay income tax. Which I don't really blame him. Who wants to pay it? To enter a pretrial diversion program related to a felony gun charge of unlawful possession of a firearm, which would most people in my situation, if I get caught with a firearm as a felon, they're throwing me under the prison. You know what I'm saying? So it to me, it doesn't really have anything to always do with race. It's more or less if you got the money and you know the right people. All right, because Biden is clearly walking his ass off this case because his dad is the president, and you know the right people. So it always helps. Prosecutors recommended 2 years of probation for the tax charges, and the gun charge would be dropped at the end of the period if the conditions of the diversion program had been met successfully. Having the gun charge dropped was conditional on Biden's remaining drug-free, booger sugar, and never being allowed to own a firearm again. Biden's attorney said the agreement with prosecutors resolved the investigation, though the Justice Department said the investigation was ongoing. So, we know this whole time, we know the people on the right have been screaming, the crime family, check the laptop, he's a felon, there's drugs in the White House, they're taking money from China, which we should all believe that they're all taking money from somebody at this point. Um, I'm not shocked. Biden's 4 years were pretty abysmal. Kamala's 4 years in really were lackluster. There wasn't a whole lot accomplished in that administration for those 4 years, other than opening the gates to all the migrants that they possibly could. All right. Now, if you want to get on the other subject of the perversion and the stuff that was pushed by them, sure, that is also part of it. And you know, if you want to blame the riots on them, which I try not to, because people are weird and humans make horrible decisions. The deep state's very good at giving out psyops to people. All right. Now, I'm not done. Still, now I did mention that Trump himself had his own legal troubles, and seems like everyone's getting off the hook right at the same time. I'm not saying it's a coincidence. I'm just saying that when you're powerful, you have money, and you're in a position of power, you can walk off without any problems. And as the former president, it is very true that when's the last time you've seen a president be charged for anything? I mean, let's be realistic. Reagan sold drugs. He never went to prison. Man was literally a drug dealer. The Iran Contra scandal happened. He sold drugs into LA and most of America. No one said nothing. He didn't go to prison, right? Bush Jr. lied and told people there were weapons of mass destruction for a BS war in a country we really had no business in. Did he go to prison? Absolutely not. Why would he? He's the president, right? Okay. Now we look back on Clinton's administration. That's pretty much self-explanatory between the drugs in Arkansas and the alleged cases that were involved with, Epstein and all that. Has anyone gone to prison regarding Epstein or the Clinton Foundation? No. All right. Are you shocked? Absolutely not. See, there's a pattern of abusing power within the deep state and in our own government of America, and people take the opportunity to play identity politics as if one side is better than the other, excuse me, and they're not. I just find it coincidental that they're all getting off on the same things they've been talking about for the last 4 to 8 years about each other. All right, no one's actually been hit on voter fraud or scandals or anything like that. Whether it was Biden or Trump, no one's been hit. Biden took documents home as vice president. You can't do that. No one said nothing. Trump is Trump's case has been thrown out for January 6th. No one's gonna say nothing. And to be quite honest, if they wanted to get him on something, they could have got him on the 14th Amendment and causing an insurrection, which I kind of thought that's the route that they would have went, but they didn't. So if no one's going to prison, what are we whining and complaining for? Because at some point, you guys got to know the presidents aren't going to prison for what they do in office. Obama has not gone anywhere. Come on. All right.